Believe it or not, if you wouldn't probably know it, going outside, baseball is around the corner.
It's like 40 hours away.
It's
Yes.
like a couple of seconds here, and when we take a look at it, the most important thing, obviously in baseball, is pitching, pitching, pitching. Jason, we'll start with you. The Guardians' rotation is, they got two at the top: Tanner Bibee, Gavin Williams, but Hunter Gaddis and those guys and Smith in the bullpen are lights out when they got it together. Which do you think is the most important, and which do you think of those rotations is the better of the two when it comes to the Guardians?
It has become such a bullpen game in baseball that teams load up on relievers. I still trust the rotation more than the bullpen, only because, Cade Smith hasn't done it for a full season yet. We think he's going to be really good. Mm-hmm. He's shown durability. He's shown the ability to go on consecutive days and all that, but we just haven't seen it over a full season out of him yet. So until he's the anchor at the back end, I think that there's at least a little bit of wonder of how that's going to go. Hunter Gaddis is going to open the year on the IL. He's going to be their top setup guy. I do like they brought Sean Armstrong over from the Rangers. Armstrong had a terrific second half last year. He's a little bit older. Whether or not he can duplicate that or not, we'll see. So there are arms to like in the bullpen. I was really excited to see them stick with Parker Messick in the rotation, send Logan Allen down. Logan Allen is what he is. He's a back end of the rotation guy who's going to eat innings. He's not someone who you can really count on. And Messick is sort of an unknown right now. We saw enough of him last year to know that you want to see more. The guys at the top with Bibee and with Gavin Williams, neither of them's really separated themselves, in my opinion, as the lead horse of the rotation, as the sure ace. You would hope that sort of Gavin establishes himself as that this year. He showed flashes in the second half of that last year. Bibee, I've talked about it before, was really sort of tinkering, I think, with his pitch mix last year. Hopefully he has cleared up in what he's found, what he feels comfortable with. When he relies too much on his four seam is when he gets in trouble. He does not have an overpowering four seam fastball. Some of his secondary stuff is very, very good. So I like that rotation top to bottom. I think I've been higher on Joey Cantillo than most.
A lot of people.
I think he's got a great changeup. I'm glad that he's got a rotation spot this year. So the depth that they have, and obviously Logan Allen is waiting if there's an injury. He's fine. He's a guy, like I said, who can come up and chew up innings. But this rotation top to bottom does not have the flashy names that Toronto has or Seattle has or the Yankees have or even Boston has. So no one's going to talk about this rotation as the top rotation in the AL right now, but I like the consistency and the depth and the balance of it. I think it's a very good rotation.
I think it's a very good rotation as well. I know a couple of weeks ago we did a topic of, outside of Jose Ramirez, to you, who's the most important player on the Cleveland Guardians for the season. And for me, it's Gavin Williams. Actually, my big, bold prediction is I think that Gavin Williams is going to lead the American League in wins this year. Just the way that he pitched on the back half of that season. Mike, if you can show the stat graphic, I think, of his last 10 starts. Look at that. 6-1, 2.20 ERA. The Guardians was 8-2, 57.1 innings pitched. Because of what Jason said about there's a lot of potential in the Guardians bullpen. Bull classifies it as being a really good bullpen, but there's some unknowns there. And what I do know is I trust Tanner Bibee when he's at his best. I trust Gavin Williams when he's at his best. I like Slade Sassoni a lot, and I'm like you. I think Joey Cantillo can pitch. Because baseball has become such of a bullpen game, I ask myself, do I have guys in my starting rotation that can at least give me 6? And I feel like Gavin, on his best day, he can give me 6. He can probably give you 7, 8. If you don't want to tire him out, you can give him 6. When everything is clicking for Tanner Bibee, I feel the same way. Parker Messick is that unknown, but he kind of reminds me of another Cleveland athlete. I've seen enough to want to see more. I'm just intrigued by the young man. So to me, I think there's a lot there. And you got Carl Willis back as your pitching coach.
Yeah.
And that always makes you feel good about the situation. To me, I think that the Guardians' starting rotation, I think is strong. I think it might be a little underrated. I think that you are going to see Pete Gavin Williams this year. I think Tanner Bibee is going to bounce back from the season that he had last year. And if those dudes can give you about 6 a game, then it sets that bullpen up to where if they're as good as Jason and Bull has told me, then the pitching should be solid all the way on board.
You mentioned getting the depth in the games. We've talked about this before, and I really noticed it with Bibee is he has too many 4 1/3, 4 2/3 starts. because the pitch count I don't know if he's nibbling. I would like to see him attack hitters a little bit more frequently and try and keep the pitch count down and get just a little bit deeper in games. 6 is the sweet spot anymore. Again, it has become such a bullpen game that starters are going less and less,
right.
Partly because they're throwing harder than ever. And some of the spin and some of the pitches that they're throwing with the sweepers and everything else, I think is more taxing on the arms than ever before. So they're trying to get these guys, they're trying to get to the good teams with good bullpens are trying to get to the bullpens as early as they can. But if you can get to 6, that to me has now become the sweet spot. It used to be 7 and 8, but now just get to 6, and then you set your bullpen up for success. So for him, it's particularly, that's sort of a key for me, is can you get him to 6, even 5 2/3, but can you get him to 6, and can you keep the pitch count under control? When you're at 33 pitches, and all of a sudden, you run a count to 3 and 2, you're 0-2, but then you get to 3-2 and he fouls one off. You do that a couple of times. Now your 33 pitches are at 47, 48, and you just cost yourself an inning.
Yeah, I think you guys bring up a lot of great points. I think, to me, when I look at the starting rotation, there is one question mark for me, and that is, how good can Slade Cecconi be? Because if he's your third guy in the rotation, if you have, Tanner Bibee, who gets hit around a little bit, and he has games where his pitch count in the third inning is super high. He has guys on base. He's walking people. If that type of thing happens this year, you need somebody to be a stopper. You need somebody to come in like Slade Cecconi and pitch where, hey, we could have got swept, but we got a stopper here. We got a guy that's going to be able to get us a win when we actually really, really need one. So I look at him as one of the guys that is going to have to step up. And by the way, you look at the pitching, the bullpen, and the starting rotation. If you look at their first few games and the first, games and schedules, because the Guardians are always out of town. But look at the teams that they playing. When you got the Mariners,
it's a tough schedule to start.
It's crazy. So especially when you got young guys and young hitters, DeLauder, Valera's on the IR, but if you got young guys who have injury problems that may start off the season slow, to keep you in contention in April and May, you're going to have the pitching be the best part of what you do, Jason.
I know we're talking about pitching, but you mentioned DeLauder. DeLauder is hitting
unbelievable right now.
The barrels that he's getting and the exit velos that he's getting. And for people who don't follow it closely, the reason people track exit velos so much is because the harder you hit it, the better the odds that something good's going to happen. It doesn't mean you can hit a 115-mile-an-hour ground ball and still make it out.
Right.
But if you can consistently get exit velos over 100, good things are going to happen. And some of the hits that he's had, I think he had a home run yesterday that was 440.
Yeah, 2, didn't he?
He had 2 home runs yesterday.
He hit 2 yesterday.
The one I saw was a bomb.
Dead center field?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was crazy.
Yeah. So the whole thing with him, they have got to keep this guy healthy. And if they can do that, if Chase can stay healthy, DH him as often as you can. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. I don't think you're going to see him play 5 days in a row. Especially early on with the cold and with everything else, you're more susceptible to hamstring strains in this cold weather, soft tissue injuries. You may see him 3 days in the outfield and then a day off and then a DH. They just have to be very careful with how they use him. But oh my goodness. I'm telling you right now, I don't want to. You guys know I don't try to get carried away with hyperbole and all this.
He excited.
Yeah, he's excited.
Oh, in terms of a homegrown dude that they drafted and developed, I ain't seen
Manny Ramirez.
That's what I'm scared to say.
No, say
honestly.
it. Say it, baby.
No,
Say
we can't do that yet. We can't do that yet. But I'm just saying, in terms of a homegrown outfield prospect.
If Jason Lloyd,
the season can start right now,
and he's dead inside too. So this is crazy.
No,
Earl Manny, my guy.
Earl said it. I did.
Right.
Earl said it.
That's
We hold
my
you
guy.
accountable. But I'm just saying. I mean, they haven't had one since him. So that's why people are so excited about this guy, because his swing is. I said a few weeks ago, because I'm living this life now with my son. Everybody swings the same way. He's the one dude that doesn't. His swing is so unorthodox, and scouts hate it. But it works for him. And it's a different type of swing, because you're going to see it as these young dudes come up. Everybody swings the same way. Not him, but it works.
We talked